Okay, welcome. Let's start off with the first exploit. This one is a clear C tier. This one is pretty useless. I wouldn't even call this an exploit at all. It's like you turn off equipment on certain battalions. Like for example, you had Cavalry Recon, which gives 10% the battalion modifier, artillery support in line, as you can see here. I mean, you turn off the support equipment and you still get the battalion modifier, right? It can be pretty fun to play around with in like low IC scenarios or as countries like China. Not really something you need to do as a big nation or in 99% of cases. So yeah, it's good to be aware of it though. And it used to be really strong with flame tanks, but they patched that one, sadly. Unlike double force attacking and double lasting, this has been around, I think, ever since that mechanic came out. Which is not sure if it was a release mechanic, but it's definitely a very old mechanic. So what you can just do is you can take a division, put it into one general force attack, put it into the next general force attack again, and force attacking gives you like 25% attack, 25% breakthrough or something. Like somebody go fact check me on that. And then you stack those modifiers, and then you get like fun bonuses. These ones I replicated in the actual game, 400 and 500%. Yeah, pretty cool modifiers. You can do that in single player easily, but you can also do it in multiplayer, even though it's a bit harder in multiplayer. But if you have last in generals and you do it fast enough, you swap them around, you can get like, I don't know, plus 100% or something when attacking choke points like Gibraltar or Malta. Yeah. Well, whatever you want to do with it. Okay. Ooh, the license exploit. Okay, this is another good one because this has been around since Paradox basically brought out the new plan designer, and they actually, when they brought out the tank designer, they made sure this doesn't happen. But with the plane designer, they somehow missed it. So when you license a plane, right, you get a production debuff. On this flag, if you hover over it in game, you would see that, like minus 25% production or something for a license. And you don't actually own the modules, right? You don't own the plane. So what you can do is you can just, if it's a fighter, for example, you're licensing from Britain, you can put one bomb block on it, and then you own the CAS. Like you own all the modules in it, and you don't have a production debuff, which is insanely strong in multiplayer, because it's all about air war. CAS is king, as one could say. And yeah, it's not that strong in single player, so I can't put it into S tier. Yeah, I mean, it's just that AI is famously bad at rushing tech and especially designing decent planes. And the air war against AI is honestly, if you have any idea whatsoever about designing planes, it should be, you shouldn't be able to lose that. Yeah. It can be good as some small nations, I suppose, like Afghanistan or something. You license a plane from Britain because you don't have a tech. Yeah. Silent naval invasions. Yeah, it's another classic. Has been around forever, I believe, since the start of the game, maybe. So it is really useless though. So this one is when you launch a naval invasion and you land. This button pops up for the guy you're naval invading, and they will have like a big sound, like a really annoying one as well. For that, Paradox is really good at making like annoying sounds, like the railway gun sound. Another good exploit or bug, but I haven't included it because it's just to annoy other players. Okay, so basically what you can do is once you naval invade, you just delete that naval invasion, and this doesn't pop out for the other player. Obviously, use this against AI because AI doesn't need the sound or the pop-up. And other players, honestly, like what will happen, you do this, like 2 minutes later, 10 angry people will be in your voice chat whatsoever if you play with Discord, and then, they will just scream at you and hold the lobby hostage, so can't recommend. Okay, this one is even worse, honestly. I mean, okay, this is anti-bombing, so, bombing, most rules that have bombing rules, you can't bomb certain things like railways. Refineries is another classic because they have very low HP. In general, you can't bomb many low HP buildings because those ones are the most important ones and they get bombed really fast. Turns out, if it's banned, you can just bomb things like nuclear reactors, or for that anything that doesn't exist in the state, and it just automatically targets the weakest buildings. yeah, you can see how this is not really useful in single player. And in multiplayer, it's somewhat useful. Depends how strict the server is. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess you can do it in like some communities, but others will get really mad at you for it. Yeah, and it's honestly not that strong, so can't be more than a D tier. Okay, this one is easily B tier, easily. So there used to be an MIO exploit when you license, for example, gun, but it works with basically most things. You apply the MIO and suddenly that equipment becomes yours, you know? Okay, they fixed it with the last update. Nowadays, the problem is you license a gun and you can't apply any MIO, not even on the production line. So turns out, because we are all very smart, what you can do is you can build your own gun 1, for example, apply the line, and then you just change the line to gun 2, and then suddenly you can still have it in your production. Checkmate paradox. And you still get the modifiers, and you get funds, so it's pretty cool, pretty useful. You should probably always do this. No one is gonna know that you like exploited. I don't think this is that known till that point in multiplayer. Might be in some communities, not that sure. Yeah, this one is a classic, so it has to go B tier, but it's really not that useful. So you can basically with power droppers you can land on any tile, especially ones that are very defender favored, like forts, mountains, you know. And when you press H, and then suddenly you're not the attacker, you play the Uno reverse card, and you're suddenly the defender. So what you can do on the margin line, you power drop on that. Oh no, you have a minus 90% fort penalty. Guess what? You press H, and suddenly the other guy has the 90% fort penalty. Yeah, how that works, no idea. Yeah, really cool mechanic though. But most multiplayer games don't allow power droppers, like they're physically impossible to do. If they are, go have fun with this, I guess. And like, say you didn't know what happened. I guess I don't know. You'll have to live with that. Yeah, but this one is another C tier. It's honestly it's not that bad. It's what this is like ghost encirclements, quote unquote. So you just power drop behind a unit or something, you know, and even if the tiles behind that unit are defended and you just have a battle going on, then you click the main unit, and the main unit can't retreat into that tile because it is in active combat. And then, you know, you click it and that unit just dies. So pretty useful. Hard to pull off though. Weaker than the H power drop thing. Again, like it's not allowed in most communities. Most don't even allow power droppers at all. So yeah, kind of useless. And in single player, it's not that strong, but it's quite fun. You can play around with that for sure. Yeah, this is another. This is a high 80, honestly. I really like this one. But it only really works, is very strong in multiplayer. It's also strong in single player, but there it's not much of an exploit because you can't really. What you need to do for this exploit is you see a 9.5 IC carrier close air support frame, you know. What you can do is, for example, as nations like Japan, you get a minus 20% bonus on many planes for your decisions. 20% IC, that is. Not production output cost, but it has to be a production cost modifier. And then you can stack that with, for example, you have a continuous focus air production as every nation. So when you have minus 20%, minus 10%, minus 30%, until now everything totally legit. But what we then do is we license this as another nation that has another bonus, like Romania or something. I think they might get minus 20% or something. And then your planes just become ridiculously cheap. Like here it says 9.5 IC. I bet you can probably get lower than this. You can probably get like a 5 IC fighter or something. It's probably going to be a garbage fighter. But you know, 5 IC is still broken. And like, honestly, for a good fighter, you can probably get it at around 12 IC if you exploit this the right way. It's a fun mechanic. And yeah, but again, I can't really cooperate and help you. So only really, really strong in multiplayer. That's why it's A tier. So this one again is strong in multiplayer and single player. What this is that you just exploit the special forces gap. You do that by spamming a bunch of 2 whiffs, then you make them 50 whiff, and then you spam out as many special forces as you like, and then you can use them for battle. There are a lot of nations that basically only want to do special forces, like Japan is a classic example in a vanilla or vanilla-ish mod competitive, you basically always only want to do special forces as Japan. And yeah, this honestly, this really shouldn't be an exploit. Like when we have to exploit this very sad, Paradox should just do it so that you can make infinite special forces, but they're a bit more expensive or something. I don't know. Yeah. You know, special forces get like minus plus 60, 70% stats nowadays. As opposed to infantry, as certain nations, as Japan, for example, you get like 70% country modifier on special forces, I believe. And then you get the terrain modifiers as well, right? Like you can cross rivers easier, you can naval evade without penalties. Yeah, so this is basically a must-do in multiplayer and single player. Most multiplayer communities, this is allowed. In single player, there are no rules. Yeah, so just go have fun with that, I guess. Okay. Next one is send volunteers and naval invasions. So volunteer naval invasions, what this is supposed to be or where this can be used is, let me just give a quick example. I think then it's easier to understand. As Spain, for example, you send volunteers to Italy. Italy is at war with the UK and you want to naval invade, right? Usually you would need Green Navy, but as Spain, since you just send volunteers, you are not actually at war with the UK. So the UK can't put its fleet up. So you just need to put one submarine of your own in the English Channel, and suddenly you have Green Navy and you can land unopposed. You can see how this is really strong, and you can do this as any volunteer nation. And well, the benefit is obviously also that you can't be convoy raided, as shown here, which is usually one of the biggest problems if you naval invade something like the UK. So yeah, you can do this in single player and multiplayer. In multiplayer, obviously even stronger. I guess go have fun with that. Okay, then this one, yeah, I think this has to go into BT as well. Manpower sponsoring, so that is honestly kind of debated whether I want to include this even at all or not. It's not that much of an exploit, but what you do is you queue up a bunch of manpower before you cap, and after you cap, you can just delete the queued up manpower and then you retain that manpower. So for example, as France, after like capitulating, you wouldn't have that much manpower in stockpile, or in reserve rather. And yeah, then you can just delete and keep that manpower afterwards. Useful, pretty useful. There are not that many nations that you can do this. So usually this is not banned in multiplayer as well. So you can do it in multiplayer and single player, but the nations which you can only really do this with is nations that capitulate consistently, like France, Belgium, Netherlands, Poland, something like that. You know, you'll have to go and experiment with that. I'm not sure how. It's not that universally applicable, but you can do some fun things with that. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, this one really hurts. It's just like a few months ago, this would have been by far my like S tier number one by far. Like honestly, I really loved this. This was insanely overpowered. It's teleporting. What you do is you get attacked and you can retreat into enemy territory if you know how to do it. And yeah, it was really fun. It's probably one of the most well-known exploits as well. Sadly, Paradox had to ruin the fun and had to abolish it with one of the updates, but they didn't properly abolish it. It's still possible with volunteers, therefore I included it. For example, if you send volunteers to the Spanish Civil War, you can still teleport, or if Spain sends to Barb or something, you can still teleport. But yeah, it's not enough scenarios anymore for this to be any higher than D tier, especially since it's not that strong. Yeah, and you can't really build around it, unlike, you know, with this. So yeah, D tier, it's really painful, but I guess that is where it belongs nowadays. Okay, the next one is, I mean, people will hate you for doing this, so this has to be high A tier, at least. Yeah, I mean, basically all communities struggled with this for a lot of time, I believe. What this is you just apply mutually exclusive traits. This only works in multiplayer, so that is a huge don. But other than that, it is the perfect exploit. So what you can do is you can, if you have any kind of input delay or lag, what you can do is you can shift left click on things like doctrines or general traits, and then you can press enter really fast. This works. If you have struggled executing this, go try and download something during the game real quick. So you have huge lag. And when you do this, then it should be even easier. You can do this with doctrines, with general trades, those ones are really easy. A bit more complicated, but also possible, is dispersed industry and concentrated industry. That is, if you can pull that off, respect. That is really strong, and honestly also really busted. People will hate you for this if they see this. Only do this in communities that like are either filled with beginners like Hearts of Oak, or like, I don't know, or are known for exploiting like Fuke or something. Yeah, there you can do it, but like I wouldn't do this in your normal multiplayer game, so to say. Okay, so the last one is this one has to go into A tier, honestly. So this is double committing the defender. It wouldn't be that good if teleporting was still in the game, but I need to include one micro exploit on a relatively high spot, quote unquote micro exploit. So how this works is you get attacked, and then you take the division being attacked, and then division next to the tile being attacked, and you just click behind the tile basically, and you open up 2 bubbles on the defender. And even if they then stop attacking you, you still have the 2 bubbles, and then they get the combat penalty in multiple combats minus 50%. Yeah, so you basically can inflict minus 50% to the defender always whenever they attack you, which is really powerful. But honestly, not that easy to pull off, especially if you're unexperienced. Like if you are a bit more experienced with this, you can pull this off pretty consistently, like 70-80% of the time once you see an opportunity. So it is really cool. I like it because it's the only good micro exploit. I guess there's some other ones like Freak Last Stand, but those ones are a bit too niche to include, I guess. Yeah, well, this is cool, you know. Minus 50%, and you can do it in single player and multiplayer. Honestly, there are not that many which are useful in both single player and multiplayer, but this is one of a few. Go learn this if you feel like it. It's a really fun exploit, yeah. And yeah, that would be it. So if you have any questions about any of those exploits, I can answer them. If I remember, I will put the link for this into the description. See ya and have a good day.